Peace. This is the enemy's public, and I am Bro.Nasir. Brothers and sisters, you are still a slave. Are we still confined to the chains of slavery? Many people that believe that the enslavement of black men, women, and children is a thing of the past. The world believes that America has set the black slaves free from the bondage of their white slave masters. Even some black people in America believe that they are actually free from the mastery and control of their white oppressors. In fact, most black people in America today have been psychologically duped into believing that they actually operate according to their own will. These misled perceptions cannot be further from the actual truth. You are indeed, in thought and in fact, still a slave. Now, wait a minute. I know that many of you are saying, I don't know what he's talking about. Don't nobody tell me what to do, and I go where I want to go, when I want to go. Well, you are right to a certain extent. You can do whatever you want. You can go wherever you want, but consider this. You're not doing nothing. You're not going anywhere. Your slave masters don't have to chain you down or whip your black ass anymore. Because you ain't doing nothing, you're not going anywhere. You have freedom in name, but not in definition. You are not a slave in name, but you are a slave in definition. The definition of the word slave means one who is dominated by someone outside their influence and having no personal rights or freedom. Now, are you dominated by some outside influence other than your own internal influence? Do you have your personal rights and your true freedom? Do you really know and understand what freedom really is? Have you ever truly experienced true freedom? Do you even remember what true freedom was all about or what it's like? What do you know other than what white people have told you? Nothing. What do you know other than what black people told you that white people told them? Nothing. Yes, the physical slavery is somewhat over, but what about the biological slavery? What about the economical slavery? What about the sociological slavery? What about the spiritual slavery? What about the psychological slavery? The physical chains were just one aspect amidst the many horrors of slavery. The chains are off our hands, but we're not producing nothing. The chains are off our feet, but we're not going anywhere. Why? This is because those physical chains were the least of our worries. We still have the biggest chain of all wrapped around our minds, hearts, and souls. Your mind is still on lockdown, and it's your mind that controls your hand and your feet. It's like having a brand new shiny car, but the engine is locked. Having a car that can't go nowhere is just like not having a car at all. What are you doing? Nothing. Where are you going? Nowhere. The white man took the chains off our hands and feet because we stopped swinging and we stopped kicking. So why not take the damn chains off? We have been in the chains for so long that we have forgotten why the slave master put them on us in the first place. We have forgotten the original reason and purpose for the physical chains. The chains were to hold you down. But if you're not trying to get up, then the chains have outlived their purpose. Think about that. I want you to think. Let us attempt to make this point a bit clearer by using an example. I want you to stay open-minded and stop thinking like the slave that you were made to be. Let us use the hypothetical example along with your imaginations. The relationship between a dog and its master can be directly parallel to the relationship between black people and their white former slave masters. For the past 4 centuries in America, this is very true. I want you to open your mind and really think about this objectively. Consider this. Suppose that tomorrow, for some reason, you became interested in getting a pet dog for your family or household. Suppose that you go to the pet store and look around and you find a dog that you were interested in buying. You then purchase the dog and bring it back to your house. Now, once you get the dog home, you notice that the dog is a bit active and untamed. So you purchase a collar for the dog and chain the dog to a tree in your backyard. Since the dog is untamed, you have to begin training your dog to obey your commands. You can eventually train this dog to do everything from catching a frisbee to attacking any enemy of yours at a single command. But before you train your new dog to do all these other things, you must train your dog to not run away from you and to return to you at your immediate command. You have to keep choking your dog with that collar until the dog stops trying to run away from you. You also have to give the dog food and water on a daily routine schedule so it will become totally dependent on you for physical or nutritional survival. The dog will forget how to independently hunt and find food for itself, therefore persuading the dog away from any desires to flee away from you or to do for itself. Also, I must add that anytime the dog does anything to disobey you, you either whip it or you deny its scheduled meal or food. Also, anytime the dog is extra obedient to your wishes, you will give the dog extra food and pat it on his head. The psychological training is absolutely necessary to gain total control over your animal or nigger. You must break down its free spirit, tame it, and make it totally dependent on you. This is the only way to win your animal's or nigger's obedience permanently. After a while, you will have your dog so obedient and so well trained that you can take the collar off your dog and unchain the dog from a tree. The dog can now roam freely because you have it so well trained that it will run to you at your very command. The dog isn't going anywhere. The dog loves you now. The dog loves you because you feed it every day. It is happy and satisfied to get the dog slop and water every day, even though you may be in the house eating a full steak dinner. The dog believes that it deserves nothing better than dog slop. The dog is so grateful to you because it remembered those days when you denied it food for reasons of its disobedience to you, and the dog has forgotten how to provide for itself, like in the days of its independence. The dog loves you because it remembers when it was chained to that tree in the backyard, and it also remembers the day that you unchained its neck from the tree. So the dog licks your hand every time it remembers that you set it free. But what the dog has failed to remember is that you was the same no-good bastard that chained it to the tree in the first place. Yes, that dog, nigger, has totally forgotten that you were the one who purchased him from the bondage of one man to another man. The dog has been psychologically tricked by you, so the dog does not recognize you for what you really are, his enemy. The dog has forgotten that you are the no-good bastard that originally locked him up. So you had better not let that dog remember that fact, because as soon as the dog is reminded of that fact, on that day, the dog will begin to bite its master in his ass. The dog will proceed to bite everybody's ass in that family that has been smiling at the dog for years. The dog will then leave your home, never to come back again. Do you understand what I'm saying? Do you really understand what is being said to you? Think about it. Really think about it. Now, if your dog, nigger, does leave you one day, how will you handle it? How will you react? Will you react violently and chase the dog? Will you mourn over the fact that your dog has left you? After all, a dog is man's best friend. You know what they say. Some of my best friends are black. Oops, I mean dogs. Oops, I mean niggas. If your dog leaves you, you will miss the way it used to curl up around your feet and lick your boots clean. Will you miss the way it used to do anything just to get the pat on his head? It just loved your attention. Will you miss the way it used to dance and wag its tail for your entertainment? Will you miss the way the dog protected you? Will you miss the way it will attack any of your enemies? Even if the enemies were other dogs, niggas that looks just like them. It's ironic that we call ourselves and each other dog. You would not have to break any sweats. The dog will fight all of your fights. You see this going on all over the United States, where our people are. When you see a brother or sister talking against our open and consistent enemy, you have this dependent, this dog who loves its master that would jump and play interference to any dog that's trying to free itself. When you miss the loyal service of your well-trained dog, I wonder if you will. I really wonder. I also wonder will white folks miss you so-called Negroes once we get smart enough to leave them. I wonder will we ever start to remember how we got here in the first place. I wonder if we would start remember who put the chains on us in the first place. And will we ever realize why they took them off? They did not take the chains off because they felt ashamed of the horrible crimes they committed against us. Don't be a fool to believe that. They took the chains off because us Negroes were psychologically trained that we were not going anywhere anyway. That is the truth. So now we live our entire lives running around in his backyard, doing what we've been trained to do and hoping for an extra dog biscuit, a pat on the head. Today it's a buttermilk biscuit and fried chicken, or some leftover scrap from the slave master's table. Yes, this is the absolute truth. This is the truth, and don't try to deny it, because the first loyalty of a dog, a nigger, to his master is to protect its master. So stop barking slave because you're barking up the wrong tree. Stop barking and face the truth. You are still nothing but the white man's slave. If you are doing everything that he says, and if any brother or sister who comes and try to free you, you snap at them for them trying to free you. I've seen videos where black auditors walk up to a police stop. I seen it the other day. They had a brother sitting on the ground. And the brother told the police officer, why you got this man sitting on the ground like a dog? And the brother and the police officer went back and forth. And he told the brother to get up. The brother was so afraid to do anything, he wouldn't get up. He said, brother, get off the ground. The detainee by the police officer told the brother, I'm all right. He didn't want the brother's help because he thought the brother was hindering his freedom. He don't even realize that he and his rights are being violated, and the brother tried to tell him that the police cannot do that to him. Eventually, the police grabbed the brother by the arm and stood him up. They had a few exchanged words, and they let the brother go. But what they did was play one brother against the other. And the brother that was detained was going back and forth with the brother who was trying to tell him that his rights was violated. And to further patronize the situation and the black auditor, the police officer came over and dapped the brother. And the brother made every excuse of why he was a capitulating Negro who didn't want to stand up for his own damn rights. I know the truth hurts, but you must understand that you and I have been psychologically duped. We have been deceived. We have been misled. We have just plain been lied to. You must understand and know this, because knowing is half the battle. The only half of the battle is fighting what you know is wrong. But how are you going to fight a problem if you don't even know what the problem is? Now let's look at this thing so that you know, so we'll know what the problem is. Let us try to calm our personal emotions and just think objectively. Understand what that means. This means that a slave has absolutely no control over themselves, and I just said that you are indeed, in thought and in fact, still a slave. That is serious. Your thoughts and your actions make up the basis upon which your entire life is built. Your thoughts and actions are the only two things that you can actually call your own. Those are the only two things that are truly yours. Not your money, not your car, not your house, not your clothes, not your furniture, not your television, not your stereo, not your girlfriend, not your boyfriend, not your husband, not your wife, not your child. None of this can be called your own because you came into the world without it. And you are going to leave the world without it. So you really can't even claim your own black ass because you can't take your own body with you when you leave the earth. The molecules and atoms that bond together to form your body must return back to the soil of the earth where it came from in the first place. Just think about that. Now, do you understand what I'm saying when I say that all that you actually have in life are your thoughts and your actions? Well, black man and black woman, you don't even have that. You're not even controlling your thoughts and your actions. You are just like that dog, a slave. This is the Enemy's Public. I am Bro.Nasir. Like, share, subscribe. Leave a comment in the comment section. Peace.